The Moray, or spiritual teacher of the House of Israel, located at 3546 Montgomery Road in Evanston. Today, I have the privilege and honor of introducing to many of you all for the first time the true word of Yahweh. It cannot be too often emphasized that the Holy Scriptures, or the Bible, is the only true source of history of the black man in America. Everything that has ever happened, everything that is happening, and everything that will ever happen to us as a people is recorded in the Holy Scriptures of your Bible. Last week, we reviewed with you all something that we're sending out free of charge to everyone that wants it. It is called the Jewels of Wisdom. It has 12 questions on it, answering some of the most interesting and relevant questions that might be pertaining to you that is recorded in the Bible. Last week, some of the questions I dealt with was number 1, does Yahweh have a chosen people or a special nation that he loves more than all the other nations on earth? And the answer to that question was yes. The Most High does have a chosen people that he loves more than all other people that are on the face of the earth. And you can find that recorded in the book of Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter, the 6th verse. Also Amos, the 3rd chapter, the 2nd verse. And also Jeremiah, the 10th chapter, the 16th verse. The second question that we had on Jewels of Wisdom is, who is the original house of Israel? The answer to that question was, part of the house of Israel is the so-called Negro of America, who were sent here to serve the Gentiles for 400 years. The scriptures we gave to answer that was Genesis, the 15th chapter, the 13th and 14th verse, also Jeremiah, the 16th chapter, the 14th to the 15th verse. The third question that we had prepared on Jewels of Wisdom is, if the American black man is the Almighty's chosen people, then why do they serve the white man and have to ask him for everything that they want? The answer is, because the Almighty warned Israel, saying if they would not keep his laws, statutes, covenants, and commandments, that he would send them out of their land into the land of the Gentiles, which is Europe and America, where they would have to serve them and depend on them for everything that they wanted. The scriptures that I gave in reference to that is Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, the 48th verse, also the 28th chapter, the 68th verse, as well as Jeremiah, the 5th chapter, the 19th verse. The fourth question on Jewels of Wisdom is, does the Israelites that are mentioned in the Bible have dark skin and woolly hair, like the majority of the so-called American black men? The answer is yes. The Israelites in the Bible were dark-skinned like King Solomon. Read Songs of Solomon, the 1st chapter, the 5th verse. Also Daniel, the 10th chapter, the 5th and 6th verse. Also they had hair like their heavenly Father, which is recorded in the book of Daniel, the 7th chapter, the 9th verse. Also, to see the type of hair King Solomon had, please read Songs of Solomon, the 5th chapter, the 11th verse. The fifth question that we asked last week that is on Jewels of Wisdom is, yes, but isn't it possible that the original house of Israel could have turned white down through the years? The answer is no. The prophet Jeremiah asked, can an Ethiopian change his skin, or can a leopard change his spots? Also read Jeremiah, the 13th chapter, the 23rd verse, and Amos, the 9th chapter, the 7th verse. The sixth question is the question that I left off on last week that I will follow through today. And that is, yes, but isn't it true that the American black man comes in all different colors? Some of them are black, brown, yellow, red, and some even look as if they were white from a result of interbreeding with other people? Yes. The Holy One of Israel prophesies that his chosen people, the house of Israel, would look like a bird of many colors. And to prove this, I took everyone to the book of Jeremiah, the 12th chapter, the 9th verse. Also Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, the 30th verse. Also, where we left off at last week is in the book of Jeremiah, the 2nd chapter. And that is where I will have everyone turn their books to today. Jeremiah, the 2nd chapter. The question that was asked in the 6th chapter, isn't it true that the American black man comes in all different kinds of colors and complexion, brown, black, white, red, and yellow, as a result of interbreeding with other people? And the answer is yes, because the Almighty allowed our women to be ravished because of our disobedience to him. We disobeyed him, we forsook his laws, we broke his commandments, and the Almighty told us, as a result of interbreeding with the other nations, he was going to allow our women to be ravished as part of our punishment. And that's the reason today that we look like a nation of speckled bird. We look like a peacock. We're the only nation in the world that looks entirely like a speckled bird, although in the beginning we did not look so. To prove this, I'd have you turn to Jeremiah, the 2nd chapter, the 21st verse, which reads as follows. Yet I have planted thee a noble vine, wholly of a right seed. How then hast thou turned into a degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me? Yes, we look like a degenerate plant of a strange vine because we broke the laws of the Creator. Creator then states in the 22nd verse, for though thou wash thee with night, and take thee much soap, yet thy iniquity is marked before me, said Yahweh. And yes, we are indeed polluted, although many of our people would like to exalt themselves because that they look more whiter or lighter than their fellow brethren. A lot of our sisters have been so brainwashed that now they would like to buy eyes that look like Miss Ann. They would have eyes that look like their white counterpart. And they would still like their fellow brethren to look and feel as though he was proud of them. And this is a total abomination. This is what made Jeremiah scream. This is what made Jeremiah cry. We find in the book of Jeremiah, the 8th chapter, that it reads as follows. Jeremiah stated in Jeremiah, the 8th chapter, I will start reading at the 20th verse, and let you see the great prophet Jeremiah, who was often called the eagle-eyed prophet, because he had the ability to look so far into the distant future that when he seen this sight, seeing our women exalting themselves because their parents had been raped, exalting themselves because they were able to buy eyes that looked as if they were their enemies' eyes. The Almighty said that Jeremiah seen this sight, and it is recorded in the book of Jeremiah. The 8th chapter, the 20th and the 21st verse reads as follows. Jeremiah said, the harvest is past, the summer is ended, and we are not saved. For the hurt of the daughters of my people am I hurt. Ani kahor. In other words, I am black. Astonishment has taken hold of me. Jeremiah was truly astonished when he looked in the future and seen our women breaking their necks to marry someone that have been oppressing their fathers down through the centuries. He was astonished at looking into the future, seeing our women buying green and blue eyes because they want to look like a little white girl. He was astonished when he looked into the future and seen these great abominations, seeing black girls soaking their skin with bleaching cream because they wanted to look white. This was truly an astonishment. That's the reason Jeremiah said in the 8th chapter, the 21st verse, for the hurt of the daughters of my people am I hurt. I am black. Astonishment has taken hold of me. And truly, Jeremiah was more astonished then than we are today, seeing our women making a mockery out of themselves, seeing that they would not like to recognize their own beauty and love themselves for who they are, but in their vain attempt in trying to imitate and emulate other people and other nations, they have lost all identity of who they are and what their flight is about. This is truly an astonishment. We find in the book of Jeremiah that Jeremiah stated furthermore in the book of Jeremiah, the 3rd chapter, the 3rd verse, it states, therefore the showers have been withholden, and there has been no latter rain. And thou hast a whore's forehead, and refuses to be ashamed. And this is truly the condition of our people today. The latter rain, meaning the blessings from Yahweh. It said the showers have been withholden, meaning all of the great spiritual blessings that the Almighty used to rain down upon our people. Those showers have now indeed been withholden, and there has been no latter rain, because thou hast a whore's forehead and refuses to be ashamed. Furthermore, on Jewels of Wisdom, I would like you to turn to the 7th question. It states on the 7th question, if the American black man is the true Jew or the original Hebrew Israelite, then who are the people who say they are Jewish? Who are the people that claim they are the Israelites? If we, indeed, the black man in America, are truly the original descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, if we are truly the original Israelites that is recorded within the Holy Scriptures of the Bible, then the question might arise, who are the people who claim they are the original Jews? The answer is, some of them are the descendants of Esau, which is the brother of Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. To prove this, we can have you turn to the book of Genesis. And before we read this, I might add, we are now venturing into one of the greatest stories, the greatest mysteries, and truly a phenomenon of the Bible, when we attempt to tell you the story of Esau and Jacob. This is truly one of the greatest and most interesting stories in the entire Bible. And we must read this story. We must search it out diligently if we are to find out who the original descendants of Jacob are and who are the people that claim they are the original descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We must thoroughly investigate the story of Esau and Jacob. And to review this story, I would have everyone turn to the book of Genesis, the 25th chapter. According to Genesis, the 25th chapter, there was a man named Isaac, or Ishkak. And Ishkak, or Isaac, was a son of Abraham, or Abraham. Abraham begot Ishkak, or Isaac. And Isaac remarried a young lady by the name of Rebekah. He was 40 years old when he married Rebekah. And Rebekah was a truly very beautiful young lady to look upon. But she was barren. She was not able to conceive a child. And starting at the 25th chapter of Genesis, the 20th verse, it reads, "And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Panoranium, the sister to Laban the Syrian. And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife," according to the 21st verse of the 25th chapter, "because she was barren. And Yahweh was entreated of him. And Rebekah his wife conceived. And yes, after Isaac went and prayed, Yahweh hearkened unto his voice and allowed his wife Rebekah to conceive. But when she conceived, his seed within her womb, there were twins in her womb." And the 22nd verse begins to tell this incredible story. It reads, "And the children struggled together within her." I might add at this time, for those of you all that favor abortion, that you might notice that they are called children within her womb. And most of you all are under the erroneous impression that they are only children after they have been born. But this is a lie. When you destroy the fruit of the womb, when you destroy the children that are within the womb, you are destroying life itself. And anytime you take life from a human being, you have committed murder. Even if this life is within your own womb, this is murder. Therefore, all of these so-called legalized abortion centers are nothing but sinners that have committed murder on living children within the womb of their mother. And the only difference between these children and children that were born on the outside of the womb is that when the children on the outside of the womb cry out, someone can hear their cry. But the ones that are within the womb, when they cry out, no one is there to hear their cry. And before I leave this, I would like to place a little more emphasis on these children within the womb and to let you know how much the Creator considers them to be light by having you to hold your page momentarily and turn to the book of Exodus, the 21st chapter. But we find in Exodus, the 21st chapter, that here again the Creator lets us know beyond a shadow of a doubt that anyone that has been pregnated by a seed and someone destroy that seed, it is the same as taking human life. We find in the 21st chapter of Exodus, the 22nd verse, that it reads, if men strive and hurt a woman with child, that meaning a child is in the womb, so that her fruit depart from her. Yes, this child that is not yet came forth into the world is called also the fruit of the womb. And it said, if a man strive and hurt a woman with child, so that her fruit depart from her, and yet no mischief follow, he should surely be punished, according as the woman's husband will lay upon him, and he will pay as the judges determine. And if any mischief follows, then thou shalt give life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burning for burning, wound for wound, and stripe for stripe. So you see, it is indeed the act of murder that is being committed in these so-called federally funded abortion centers. And anyone that will justify these babies being terminated because a mother considers it her own body, it is indicative of someone else destroying their child that is already born. For truly, I am my mother's body. Whether I get to be 50, 60, or 100 years old, I'm still the fruit of her body. And if she had a right to kill me before I came forth from her womb, then she has the right to kill me after I came forth of her womb. And we know this is not true. The Creator considers it an evil, wickedness, and He calls it murder. And I would suggest that a hint to the wise should be sufficient. Getting back to this amazing story, I'll have you again turn to Genesis, the 25th chapter. According to Genesis, the 25th chapter, it says in the 22nd verse, and the children struggled together within her. And she said, if I be so, why am I thus? In other words, she noticed with her divine perceptibility and physical consciousness of her body that her children, these twins within her womb, were fighting with one another. And she said, and the scriptures reading the 22nd verse, the children struggled. They struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Yahweh. In other words, she wanted to know if Yahweh had truly blessed her with two seeds, two babies within her womb. Then why are they fighting one another? Why is there strife between her unborn sons? Why is there a struggle going together within her womb? And it was such a strange occurrence that she went to inquire of Yahweh. There was no older mother or aunt that could have answered this question. It was such a phenomenon that it had to be brought to the attention of the Creator Himself. And the answer that the Creator told her is something that have battled theologians for centuries. For He said in the 23rd verse of the 25th chapter of Genesis, it reads, and Yahweh said unto her, two nations are in thy womb, and two manners of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. In other words, the Almighty said, although these twins are brothers, fathered by Isaac, and yourself, Rebekah, these two twins that are in your womb, or these twins that are within your womb, are two different nations of people. He said, two nations were in thy bowels. Two nations are in thy womb. And two manners of people. They were two different manners of people all together that would be separated from her bowels. And then the Creator said, the one people should be stronger than the other, and the elder should serve the younger. I had to bring that to your attention because traditionally the younger always served the elder, except when the Almighty had made a distinction. And in this particular case, as also was the case with Isaac and Ishmael, the Almighty made an exception to the rule. With the Isaac and Ishmael, the Almighty said that Isaac would be over Ishmael, and in this case, the Almighty made another exception because he said the elder, which was Esau, would serve the younger, which was Jacob. And we know this to be true because according to the 24th verse, it reads, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his name, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bore them. So we see that these are twins in the womb. And I might add and bring to your attention that even until this very day, these two twins are two manners of people. These two twins belong to two different nations of people. And these two twins both thought that they should have enjoyed the fruits of being the firstborn. These two twins both thought that they should have been the original heirs of the recipient or a recipient of all of their father's, Isaac's, blessing. They both thought that they should be the chosen people. They both thought that their brothers should serve one another. And we're going to investigate today and find out who these two twins are. We're going to try to see if the man who claimed that he is the seed of Jacob is truly the seed of Jacob, or does the man that claimed that he is the original Israelite is truly the descendant of Esau. First of all, what did Jacob look like? Well, Jacob was smooth-skinned. Jacob's descendants that are described in this book were black. If you don't believe that the descendants of Jacob was black, then read Exodus, the 4th chapter, and see the great miracle that was performed with Moses. Read Job 30 and 30 and see the color of Job's skin. Read Songs of Solomon, the 1st chapter, the 5th verse, and see the color of King Solomon's skin. Read Songs of Solomon, the 5th chapter, the 11th verse, and see the texture of Solomon's hair, or see the texture of Solomon's hair, the kind of hair that King Solomon's had. If you don't believe me, read furthermore Daniel, the 7th chapter, the 9th verse, and see the kind of hair that the Creator had. Read Daniel, the 10th chapter, the 5th and 6th verse, and read the description of an angel that is recorded. If you don't believe me, then read Lamentations, the 4th chapter, the 8th verse, and read the color of the Nazarites. Read Lamentations, the 5th chapter, the 10th verse. Read Jeremiah, the 8th chapter, the 21st verse. If you do not believe that the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were black, and their hair was like pure wool, then read those verses that I just called off and see if there could be any doubt left in your mind. And if truly the descendants of Jacob had hair like pure lamb's wool, and this is exactly what is described when you read the kind of hair that King Solomon had in Songs of Solomon, the 5th chapter, the 11th verse. This is the identical type of hair that King Solomon had. And this is also the identical type of hair that the Almighty himself had. Let me glorify the Creator and glorify myself by reading and quoting to you what is recorded in Daniel, the 7th chapter, when Daniel, the man that was in a lion's den, seen a vision of the Creator. We read that according to this vision, that Daniel said, I beheld until the thrones were cast down, meaning all the earthly thrones, all the earthly governments, all the earthly empires and kingdoms that are on the earth. He said, I beheld until the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, speaking of the Almighty himself, whose hair was like, he said, the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garments was white as snow, and the hair of his head like pure wool. So we know that the descendants of Jacob, as well as the angels, as well as the Creator of the heaven, the earth, and the universe himself, had hair like pure lamb's wool. We know that by reading these scriptures. And if any of you all have problem getting the older Bible with this material and this truth still in it, please contact me at 531-9898, and I'll make sure that I can find a place or find someone that can deliver to you one of these Bibles. But I have proved beyond a shadow of a doubt, through the infallible truth of the word of the Creator, that the descendants of Jacob was black, and they had woolly hair. And we know that the people that claim they are Jews today are not black-skinned, neither do they have hair that looks like the pure lamb's wool, but rather they have the type of hair that was described in the Bible that Esau had. Yes, Esau's appearance is described in the Bible. I would have you turn to the book of Genesis, the 27th chapter. There's a story here about, in the 27th chapter, about Isaac growing old. And as he grew old and felt he was about to die, that he asked his older son Esau to go out and get him some venison and prepare it for him that he might eat the venison and bless him before he died. But we found out that Rebekah, Esau's mother, when she heard that her husband Isaac gave that command to Esau, that Rebekah ran to her younger son Jacob and told him to get a kid and kill it so that she might make savory meat for him and that he might be able to go in and get the blessing. Well, we find, according to this story, that Jacob was reluctant in doing so. because he did not want to be a liar or appear to be a deceiver in front of his father. But Rebekah already knew that the Almighty had revealed unto her that the elder would serve the younger. So she knew that she was not supplanting her older son's blessing by sending Jacob in there to get the blessing, because she knew that originally, according to the words of the Creator, the blessings was for Jacob anyway. But Esau never agreed with that, even until this very day. So let's read a few verses and see what happened. It says, and it came to pass, the 27th chapter of Genesis, the first verse. It said, it came to pass when Isaac was old and his eyes were dim, that he could not see, that he called Esau, his eldest son, and said unto him, my son. And he said, here I am. And he said, behold, now I am old, and I know not the days of my death. And then he informs his son that he wants him to go out and get some venison and bring it to him that he might bless him. I want you to read this whole 27th chapter at your own discretion, during your own private time. I want you to search it out and see, because after reading this chapter, you will know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the man who claimed that he is the original Israelite, it is not, but rather we, the slaves of America, the black man in America. We find out that in the 6th verse, that Rebekah spoke unto Jacob her son, and said, behold, I heard thy father speak unto Esau thy brother, saying, bring me venison, that I may make savory meat, that I may eat and bless thee before I die. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice according to all that I command thee. Go down to thy flock, and fetch me from thence 2 young good kids of the goats, and I will make them savory meat for thy father, such as he loveth. And thou shalt bring it to thy father, that he may eat, and that he may bless thee before he die. And Jacob said to Rebekah, his mother, behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. My father will peradventure and feel me, and I shall seem to him a deceiver, and I will bring a curse upon me, and not a blessing. And his mother said unto him, upon me be the curse, my son. Only obey my voice, and go fetch me them. In other words, she knew that she was not going to be cursed. She knew that she was not going to bring a curse upon her son, because, as I had said, the Almighty had already told her when she went to find out why these children were fighting together within her womb. The Creator had already revealed unto her that the reason they're fighting is because 2 different nations are in her womb, and 2 manners of people would be separated from her bowels. And the one people should be stronger than the other, and the elder should serve the younger. That is mentioned in Genesis, the 25th chapter. So she knew that her son would not receive a curse, neither would she. And his mother said unto him in the 13th verse, and his mother said unto him, upon me be the curse, my son, only obey my voice, and go fetch me them. And he went and fetched and brought them to his mother, and his mother made savory meat such as his father loved. And Rebekah took goodly raiments of her elder son Esau, which were in the house, and put them upon Jacob her younger son. In other words, she took some of Esau's clothing and put them upon Jacob, her younger son. Now watch what else, what she does in the 16th verse of the 27th chapter of Genesis. is to let anyone know, or enough to let anyone know that got eyes and can see, and ears and can hear, that the people that claim they are Israelites are not, because it is recorded in Genesis the 27th chapter, the 16th verse. It reads as follows: "And she put the skins of the goat upon his hand and upon the smooth of his neck." In other words, she wanted Jacob to look like Esau. Now, the first thing she did is put Esau's clothing on Jacob. Now, as I had revealed earlier, Esau had bushy hair. He had nappy hair. He had woolly hair. He had kinky hair. So to deceive Isaac, she took goat's hair and put it on the smooth of Jacob's neck and upon his hands. She put it upon his hands and upon the smooth of his neck. Now the question is asked, if Jacob and his descendants, as I had already stated, had woolly hair like the sheep, then what kind of hair does a goat have? I might add that a goat has straight hair. A goat has straight hair. And the people you know to be Jews today, they have straight hair like a goat already. They are red in complexion already. They are hairy already. So, therefore, it would have been totally unnecessary for Rebekah to have to put straight hair on a man that already has straight hair. And we know that the so-called Jewish man, we know that the so-called Israelite, we know that the original descendants of Esau already had straight hair. So it was totally unnecessary, had Jacob been a white man, had Jacob been a Jewish man, for his mother to put straight hair on his neck and on his hands, because he would have already had straight hair. But Jacob had woolly hair like the sheep, like Solomon in Songs of Solomon 5 and 11, like his heavenly father in Daniel 7 and 9. He already had woolly hair. So it was very necessary for Rebekah, his mother, to take the straight hair of the goat and put it upon Jacob. But if Jacob already had straight hair, as you have been taught down through the centuries, it would have been totally unnecessary. So therefore, I conclude that Jacob and his descendants were always black, like the people in the Bible are described as. And their hair was always woolly, as the Bible describes them. And it was Esau who had straight hair. It is the man who claimed that he is a Jew today that already has the hair that looks like the goat hair. A hint to the wise is sufficient. I hope I did enough to open your eyes and reveal this great deceit that have been perpetuated on the earth. During the last few months that I've been on TV, I have revealed the 3 greatest kept secrets in the world. And they are, there is no secret on this earth as great as the secret as who the true Messiah is, who the true King that the Almighty prophesies that he would send back on earth. And I proved out of preponderance of scriptural evidence that the Messiah that the Father said he was going to send on earth is none other than David. And that is the world's greatest kept secret. The second best kept secret is the true identity of the black man in America. And our true identity is that the original identity of the black man in America is that we are the original Israelites. The third greatest kept secret is what I have revealed to you today, and that is who is the original descendants of Esau. What was the great difference between Esau and Jacob? Who were the two individuals? Why were they different? Why were they fighting? They were fighting in their mother's womb, as has been shown in Genesis, the 25th chapter, the 21st verse on, that the Creator said unto Rebekah that two nations are in your womb. You can find that in Genesis, the 25th chapter, the 21st verse. Why were these babies fighting? 21st verse reads again, and Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife because she was barren, and Yahweh was entreated in him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her. And she went to inquire of Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto her, two nations are in your womb, and two manners of people shall be separated from your bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days of deliverance were to be fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Not only was Esau the elders, but Esau was red all over like a hairy garment. And what kind of hair did Esau have? Esau had straight hair, like the goat. And it has already been proven that Jacob was smooth-skinned, black-skinned, and had woolly hair like a sheep. Another question that might arise at this time is, if they were brethren inside the womb, what two nations were they? First of all, Esau, although he was born and conceived by a black woman named Rebekah and a black man named Isaac, that he was born into the Gentile kingdom. Esau, our brother, the brother of myself and all the black men in America, was born into the Gentile kingdom. And there were enmity from the beginning between the Gentile kingdom and the Hebrew kingdom. And Jacob was born into the family of the Hebrews. We know this to be true because they are the only two nations thus far described in the Bible if you read Genesis, the 10th chapter. Furthermore, you might ask, why were they fighting? Well, to show you why they were fighting, it was never intended for us to be integrated as a people at all. We are only integrated into this system because of our disobedience to the true and living Elohim. We have disobeyed his voice, and he allowed us to be integrated. But although we were integrated, integration would never work. The reason that you would know that it's not going to work is because there's a difference between the two seeds. There's a difference between the Gentile kingdom and the Hebrew kingdom, and they were never meant to live totally together in harmony. To prove this to you, I will have you turn to the book of Daniel, the 2nd chapter. Daniel, the 2nd chapter. To let you know that the black man who is called in the Bible and pertained to as the sons of Elohim were never to get along in peace and harmony with the sons of man, which is pertaining to the sons of the Gentiles. And they are pertained to in the scriptures as a son of man. And this is the empire that we're living under today, the fourth great dreadful beast of the earth that is described in the book of Daniel, the 2nd chapter. according to Daniel, the 2nd chapter, to show you that there can be never no peace, never no harmony, never tranquility between the two nations. We read, starting at the 40th verse, it reads as follows. And the fourth kingdom, speaking of us today, and the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, and for so much as iron breaketh in pieces, and subdueth all things, and the iron that breaketh all these shall be broke in pieces and bruised. And wherein thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay, and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. And yes, this kingdom today is divided. But there shall be left in it of the strength of the iron, for so much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. Now watch what the 42nd verse says. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of man, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. In other words, the Almighty said they will mix us up, integrate us, mix us up. He said we'll be mixed together with the seed of men. And this is the way we are today. We're mixed together with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another. And in our society, the clay and the iron and the two seeds, the seed of man and the seed of Elohim, is not cleaving one to another. In all of your great industries around the United States, many blacks are finding it very necessary that they attempt to form their own unions, because they see that they are not truly, adequately, and justly represented by the so-called white unions. Even in every large metropolitan city, the various police departments throughout the United States, the black policemen have to find it very necessary that they set aside and form their own union to represent them, because their white counterparts are not cleaving together with them. There is a difference, and they can tell you the difference. So in every endeavor of our society, the two seeds are still not mingling together. As much as you would like to integrate, assimilate, and evaporate, and think that attempting to vote and march and sing and pray your way into freedom, I'm here to tell you that today that all of these vain attempts are just sheer folly. They're sheer folly. We cannot be mixed together. We can be mixed, should I say, but we will not cleave one to another. Our time is running out, but I want everyone that would like a copy of these jewels of wisdom to write to me at 3546 Montgomery Road, 3546 Montgomery Road, Cincinnati, Ohio, 45207, or either call me, area code 513, phone number 531-9898, and I will try to send you some of this invaluable literature called the Jewels of Wisdom. It has 12 of the greatest questions that should be relevant to you today that is written within these pages, and we will send them for no charge whatsoever. Just call us at 531-9898, and next week we will attempt to finish the Jewels of Wisdom. But until then, if anyone have any questions, if anyone have any comments, if anyone doubt the validity of the scriptural facts that I'm bringing forth and would like to question me on a public forum, in their churches, in their synagogues, I will come to you. You don't have to come to me. I will come to you to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that Yahweh will live forever and his words are living forever, and all the words that he has revealed unto me is true. And if anyone doubt the validity of anything that I'm saying, I'll expect to hear from them. Until then, I love you very much. Shalom.